Hi guys, it's Dakota. I hope you're doing well. I'm going to get right into it. I have a lot to cover. A few weeks ago, I was surfing YouTube. I came across a video by witch by the witch's lily pad, and the title of the video was things that I can't witch without, or something like that. I'll leave her link below. This is not in response to her video. It just sort of, I thought it was really interesting that I had this one particular thing so in common with her that it was almost frightening because, well, at first I thought, wait, that was mine and you didn't give me credit. And then I looked back through my videos and I'm like, I never did a video on that. And in fact, it was kind of odd because what I'm about to show you was actually not out in the open of my where I could see it in my house or my room, so it just didn't make sense. All right, so she had in that video, she has a large oil lamp, an antique oil lamp. That's what this is. This is an old one. This is a small one. Hers is large. The tops come off. There's a little knob, and there's a wick that you can adjust up or down. You can see it coiled down in here into this bowl. This unscrews, and you put oil lamp oil in the bowl, and that is the fuel. And you light the wick, and you put your little lid on, and you have your oil lamp. So I'm watching the video and she's talking about it, and she's talking about how she uses it on her altar for specific things. I'll let you watch her video. And I thought, that's mine, that's mine, you know. And come to find out, somebody else does the same, almost exact same thing. So I thought, well, let me share this with you. And I liked the title of her video and what it was all about so much that I'm actually going to do my things that I can't witch without. And we'll discuss all that stuff. So on the oil lamp, yes, about 20 years ago, I used to use this all the time. Either just placing it, pardon me, either placing it on my altar and just as light, excuse me, just as light, or for spell work. Now, how I used it for spell work is this. Inside the bowl, I would add the oil lamp oil, and then I would add, say I'm doing meditation. Maybe I just want to relax, you know, I'm just sort of wanting to ground and just kind of relax and just chill. So I would put the oil lamp oil in, and then I would take maybe lavender essential oil or maybe sandalwood, whatever oil I wanted to have a little bit of scent. Put just a couple drops. You don't want to have this, you know, raging fire on your hands. And then add some herbs. Maybe I added for meditation. Maybe I sprinkled in some lavender, maybe some sandalwood, and also crystals. Maybe I added, maybe I added some tourmaline for calming and relaxing. Maybe some amethyst to help, you know, help just keep that stress at bay. Put that right into the bowl, screw this back on, light your wick, put your little top on, and there you go. And you don't have to worry about the flame, you know, jumping out while you are eyes closed. So this is a good thing to use, like when you're taking a bath, like a relaxing bath or whatever. Set your intention and go right away. Now I clean it when I'm done. I discard what I have used. So I've used herbs or stones, whatever I've used in there. I discard that as properly as I can because I don't want that residual energy left in there. Because if I use it again, then that energy is in there. The only thing that I don't replace is the wick, because you have to buy the wick, and it comes in like a long string, and you just coil it up and put it in that bowl. but I don't want to just, throw the whole wick away. So, and I remember only using a small amount of oil because for specific things you don't need to fill your whole base unless you're going to use it on your altar all the time. And then why not use up that oil and let it burn? So I thought that was really interesting that I share that same thing with her, and I don't know her, not heard. Have never seen any of her videos. So, yeah, so hey, we got something going on. All right. However, the other thing that I wanted to mention was some of the other things that, okay, that I can't witch without. Well, the thing is, yeah, I can. To me, I don't need anything except myself and my intention to do anything witchcrafty. I choose to use the items that I use because they help bring about a focus. They help bring about, and that focus helps bring about an energy within me. And some things, like this next thing I'm going to talk about, which is herbs, they have energy within them. And so the herb has energy, even if it's dried. Once it's activated, if it's burned, or even if it's dried, you can still feel the energy. At least I can. So on my list of things that I couldn't witch without is herbs. Although I'm here to tell you that I could live without them. I choose not to. I want to say I feel most witchy when I'm working with herbs, but I feel most witchy a lot of times. So herbs just happens to be one of the things that I use that I feel very witchy with. All right, well, if I'm going to have herbs, then I'm going to need a mortar pestle. So this is the mortar pestle. It's very small. You can see the bowl is only about 2 inches. It's not deep at all. I mean, it's not even up to my first knuckle deep, and it's soapstone. Now you can see I've used it. I've used the crud out of it, but I use it for things like lavender buds, something that is very gentle that I'm just trying to bring about the essence in. You can get herbs to crush in there in soapstone, but I find it really hard to do. Soapstone is soft, and I don't really care for soapstone mortar and pestle. This is the one that you've seen me use. This is my main mortar pestle that I use. This is a big guy, okay? Big guy. And it's made out of marble. It's heavy. It's really heavy. Marble, like on this outside, how it's very smooth, you wouldn't be able to grind anything in that either. However, this mortar, on the inside, I think I can show you better on the pestle. Can you see the striations on there? See the lines? Those same lines are inside the bowl. So it actually has a better, sorry, I keep hitting my computer. It has a better edge to grind, if that makes sense. So it's able to grind the herbs into a nice powder, where the soapstone, not so much. The other thing that I use, because I do here this last year when I'm working with a new teacher, and I'm working a lot with roots. And when you're working with roots, neither one of those mortars you're going to be able to crush the roots or to grind them down into anything. Well, and I don't have any right here with me, but roots are extremely hard to grind into a powder or anything. So what I did was, a couple years ago, I was at a thrift store and I bought a little coffee grinder for like $2, something like that. And I took it home and I cleaned the heck out of it. I used Florida water. I mean, I cleaned the heck out of it. And then I consecrated it specifically for herbs, only for herbs, roots, herbs, flowers. And so I don't use it to grind my coffee unless I'm using coffee in my spell work. But it's only used for that, only used for grinding herbs and roots. So that works really good for bigger pieces like your roots and stuff like that. So if I'm going to be working with roots, I feel like if I'm going to be working with roots, then I feel like, yeah, I couldn't live without my coffee grinder or my herb grinder. However, the bottom line is I could still live without the roots, right? You don't need it. The power is within you. However, I like working with the herbs. I like to put the herbs in the mortar and then I prefer to use my hands, seriously, to squish them up than to actually use the grinding. I want to infuse my energy into those herbs. I want my intention to just get in those herbs. I want those herbs to know what my end result is. I want those herbs to really work with me. And I research before I put those herbs in there, like, okay, oh, this calls for my favorite herb. This calls for mugwort. Let's put a couple pinches of mugwort in there. Okay, well, what element? What element is that? I want to know. I want to know because I'm working with it, and as you know, I've done dedication to the elements, and I work with them on a serious basis. So yeah, I want to know. I'm not. Oh, the recipe calls for mugwort. Throw some in there. No, I need to know a little bit more about mugwort before I start doing that. So mugwort is one of my favorite herbs to use, and it is good for, and it is the element of earth, by the way, which is one of the reasons why I use this for my journey work, my ancestral work, which you know I use a lot. I do a lot of journey work and a lot of ancestral work. I use it for divination. So I use this when I need to be in that that other world state of mind, so that I can be in that energy of the earth. I need to be grounded and rooted in what it is that I'm doing. And mugwort is really good for that. It's good for journey work. It's good for astral travel. It's good for to use if you're trying to do divination. And it helps keep you grounded while you're out, wandering the realms, so to speak. What I do know about mugwort is that if you're pregnant, leave it alone. Don't touch it. If you're trying to get pregnant, leave it alone. If you're having fertility issues, leave it alone. If you think you want to add it to your tea, I drink it in tea, but I use a very small amount, and I don't use it all the time because it's very, very dangerous in high amounts on your kidneys. It's bad news. So I know this, so I don't use that. But yeah, so I know that this is the element of earth. I know that if you're pregnant, you're not going to want to use it. And I know what it's good for. So mugwort, could I live without it in my witchy practice? Yes, I could. Do I want to? No, I don't. The next herb that I use, you've heard me talk about a million times. Could I live without it? Sure. Do I want to? No. I use this in almost every spell work that I do. And that's chicory root. Okay? This is chicory root. Grow it in your garden. Chicory root is good for removing obstacles, for opening doors, for opening the path. And so it's a really good herb to use for that. It is safe. It's element of air. It's pretty safe to use. So chicory root, since it opens doorways and it opens the path and it removes the obstacles, there are times that I have added a pinch or two to my tea that have made with my mugwort when I'm doing ancestor work or journey work, because I'm trying to open the doorways to communication. And chicory being element of air, I'm checking my notes just to make sure, since it's element of air, it's all about communication, and that's what I'm trying to do. So it makes perfect sense to me to use that. So there again, and here's the other thing, even if I'm not doing that, if I'm doing spell work, for whatever. If I'm doing spell work for a client and they want spell work for love, or they want spell work for prosperity, or whatever. Well, the reason I'm doing the spell is because there's something in your way. There's an obstacle. You know, something is blocking the way. So you wouldn't have to do spell work if there wasn't an obstacle, right? So I like to use chicory root for that. My other favorite herb that I like to use is Damiana leaf. It is fairly safe. Check it out because it's element of fire. All right, so gotta have a little fire, and it's good for visions. Now I don't use it a lot in my teas, but I use it a lot in my candle magic. So yeah, so that is element of fire, Damiana, fairly safe. I would double check, but I think there's different parts I think of the Damiana plant that might not be as safe as just this is the leaf, Damiana leaf. Okay, the other thing that I use for divination and for calling spirits, etc., is dandelion root and dandelion. I use dandelion, well, leaf or root, I don't care. I use dandelion, and it's really good to help with the visions, to help with the psychic visions. It's also good to use for divination. I drink dandelion tea. They sell dandelion tea in the store. So, but here's the thing with dandelion, it's fairly safe. I think there's some other issues. I think it might cause some digestive tract issues and things like that if you overdrink. But here's the thing. Here's what I think about dandelion. If you are allergic to any kind of weed, you're not gonna want to use a dandelion, for crying out loud. It's a weed. So think about those things. I mean, you can eat the leaves, right? Put them in your salad and eat them. And you can use dandelion for everything. I love dandelion, and I love the dandelion puffs. I use those a lot in spell work. All right. So and dandelion, of course, element of air. So yeah. So that's really good. And it's right out there in my yard when I need it. The last herb that could I witch without it? I could. I definitely don't want to. This is probably in spell work one of my favorite herbs to use. It's slippery elm. This is called slippery elm. Slippery elm is great for stopping gossip, people just yapping, they don't have anything better to do. It makes them feel good to talk about you. And that could be for a number of reasons. Maybe their own self-esteem isn't what it needs to be. Maybe they're jealous, envious. Who knows? They don't like what you're doing. They have their own opinion, and for some reason their opinion means more than yours. I don't know, whatever. But this works, and it's really good. Like, I'll tell you, when I use this with chicory root, truths tend to come out, and those that have a mouth and talk and spread rumors and false accusations and stuff like that, all I do is I add that. I'm not going to tell you what I do, but I'm just saying the slippery elm and that chicory root together, opening the doorway for the truth to come in. Your accusations, the accusations then actually become highlighted. It's like you got that yellow highlighter all over you. So it's an excellent herb. I don't think I can witch without that. I don't know. I love it. I love it a lot. and I'm learning even more about it as I work with my new teacher. And you know, so, and it's general, and it is an element of air also, communication. Yep, yep, yep. Okay, so it's just stop all of that. All right, the last herb that I don't know. I mean, I don't know. You know, I use tobacco for offerings. It's my main it's my main offering. It's a sacred herb. It's a sacred herb. I could live without it, but it's sacred. I want to use it, so I do use it. It's good for, you know, you can use it for your sacred space to cleanse. You can use it for offering to the gods. If you do spell work, I always leave an offering of tobacco. So it's a really good thing to have. Tobacco, in case you didn't know, is extremely, extremely, extremely poisonous. Do you smoke? It's extremely poisonous. I know nicotine is addicting, but tobacco, look it up. It's very, very poisonous. It is very baneful. Speaking of baneful, the other thing that I use, and I'm not going to talk about it, could I live without it? Those are my baneful herbs. Well, I suppose I could. I could, because it's, you know, it's truly not the herb that's doing the work. You're doing the work. So I could, but I don't want to. I don't grow my baneful herbs because I'm worried about my pets. So I personally don't grow my herbs, my baneful herbs or flowers. Okay, well, I am the hallowed cauldron. Could I witch without my cauldron? Yikes. I don't know. I don't want to try. This is one of my cauldrons. Pretty large, right? It's pretty large. Uh, I use it outdoors, specifically when I have petitions or herbs that I need to dispose of, and I don't want to bury them. So I use this cauldron for that. Right now it's housing, I'm getting ready to do some bone cleaning, and so it's getting ready to, I'm ready to do my cleansing of my crow that I found. Yeah, he's still kind of got weeds and stuff on him. I've got all of his bones and stuff over there. I'm getting ready to clean them. Just haven't done it yet, but anyway, it's housing that. So the cauldron, yeah, I don't know about that, you know? I don't know about that. The cauldron is the womb. The cauldron is the birth of. Um, I don't know. Candles, could I live without them? Well, let me see. I've got black birthday candles because you always need black. Black candles are very hard to find in a birthday candle. I bought a few packages of these. You can't find the small black birthday, you know, small black candles like that. Yeah, so candles, beeswax, the chime candles. I buy them by the caseload. By the caseload. Candle magic is my thing. Could I witch without my candles? Well, I suppose that I could. I use all kinds of candles, as you can see. These candles here, these are fun, right? These are fun in celebration of. These I've used for deity when I'm not really doing like devotion, just because. These I haven't used yet, but it would be like the same thing. The little black birthday candles, you betcha. I use those. They go nicely with that slippery elm and chicory root. um, I use all kinds of candles. Candles that float in water. When I'm working with water. Tapers, the chime candles, votives, pillar candles, 7-day jar candles, candles for everything. I use candles for everything. All right. The last thing, we're getting late here. So the last thing, when I'm just looking at my list here, the last thing that I want to talk about is, and I've showed you this before. Let me put this cauldron down here on the floor. I've showed you this before. This is my slate. It's a piece of slate tile. I've told this story before. I'll tell it again in case you haven't seen the video. But it's a slate roof tile. And it was it came during I'm not sure what hurricane. I want to say Florence, but I don't think so. I think it was another hurricane. But anyway, it came from Florida, and so I bought a couple different sizes. I bought this size, and then I bought some smaller ones. And I don't know why I bought them. I just liked them. I liked the feel of it, I guess. And the energy, at first I was kind of nervous because I thought, that slate tile represents chaos. It represents, destruction. And I mean, it came off a roof, they found them all over, the land. And I was like, that's destruction and chaos. And do I want that? And yet, it just had this really, I don't know, this really grounding feeling about it. So I started using it. It sits right here on top of my table when I'm doing stuff. If I'm doing spell work, it goes under my spell work, whatever. And but I looked it up, and it takes a long time. It's about transformation, because it takes a long time for slate to become slate. Slate is true slate. They do make slate now, but it's the same process. It's just that they're able with technology to create it now as opposed to over the years. But slate is earth. It is a combination of mud and sand and clay. And so it's transformative. It takes that earth and it creates slate. It creates this. So it was at that point that I sort of got it, I went, wow. I mean, I work so closely with the elements, and the elements are extremely important to me, and I work with them, and I feel that. I feel that in the slate. So I think that was almost a gift that I found it. And what was really interesting when the guy, he's a contractor. He's just a contractor. This is not even his thing. He's not a witchy pagan kind of person. And the next time I saw him, he said, hey, I got more of that slate. Do you want some? And I was like, I said, I'm not sure. I said, I already have it. I don't need it. And then I thought, well, I could maybe, sell it in the store maybe or whatever. And he says, well, why wouldn't you? And I said, well, it's a hurricane. It's destructive and chaos. And he goes, right. He goes, but you've got a piece of slate. It's not broken. He goes, that flew off, that you can see where it was nailed into the roof. Like the hurricane pulled the slates off and they flew who knows how far, and they landed and didn't break. Strength. The slate roof. It was protection. It's of earth, and so I just the fact that it has all the elements. It's earth, it's, you know, it's fire, earth, it's fire, and so I don't want to witch without my slate. And so when I see him, which isn't often, I always tell him, bring the slate. I will buy it, you know, from you. I encourage you, if you can ever get some slate, that you get it and try it, work with it, see how it feels to you. I absolutely love it. So anyway, yeah, so that is, those are my top, with the exception of the oil lamp, which isn't on my top, but I just wanted to share that with you because that was how I even got started with this video. But so, you know, the herbs, the cauldron, the candles, my slate, those are things that, could I live without them? Could I witch without them? Yeah, I could, but I don't want to. I love them. And I was going to show you this. I know it's getting late, but this is how I do my herbs. I have herbs in my herb cabinet in jars, and I don't, too much. It's too much. I have to dust the jars, and you know, I've noticed that with the jars. This is all, these are different powdered incense. My resin, I didn't bring them all over. I just wanted to show you some of these. This is how I keep my herbs and stuff, and I have a video on it, so you can check that out. But when they're just in a bag, you know, an ounce size bag, it only takes a little bit of herb. A little bit of herb goes a long way. Lemon peel. A little bit of herb goes a long way. And I don't keep herbs more than a year, because especially herbs that I'm going to be ingesting, because, you know, the potency of the herb, I feel, in my opinion, isn't as strong. So what do you do with all your jars of herbs? You know, I just don't, I don't have time to take out all my jars and clean them and check them for, you know, bugs and insects. They will get them, especially if you buy organic, because there's no pesticides. So when I buy the small ones, it's like I said, it's a pinch or two in an ounce, or 2 ounces of herbs, and that way I don't have so much waste. So, oh, here's my other cauldron. Here's one of the other cauldrons that I use. Sitting over here, I forgot about it. I have a lot of cauldrons. Okay, guys. Well, I hope you liked it, and I want to thank the Witch's Lily Pad for you know, posting that video. That was fun, and that made me think about, what could I witch? Well, you know, could I witch without, and what could I witch without? And come to find out, probably everything. But the truth of the matter is, I don't want to. I like my stuffs. But too much stuff is too much stuff, and you know, you do need to downsize at times, and things get old, and why hang on to it? So anyway, that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. It was fun for me, and I think I'm going to look through my herbs now. And I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Have a good week. Stay safe. Love you guys. Bye.